You might have seen the protest there last weekend. A bunch of people were protesting about not having to, or protesting against the obligation to wear masks in respect of the COVID-19 pandemic, and protesting in relation to other rights that they felt were breached, other constitutional rights and so forth, that they accepted or that they were contending were breached as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic situation and the various steps that the government may have made in relation to trying to combat the spread of COVID-19 and trying to contain it. It was a relatively small protest, relatively small number of people, but it certainly raised the anger and the hackles of many people, and I can understand why. It certainly is something that would cause me a great degree of concern and anger as well. But one of the most disagreeable aspects of it is the number of people carrying tricolours. Now, I don't know about you, and I don't know what you believe that the people of the 1916 Rising fought for, but are these people somehow contending, by waving these tricolours, that one of the rights, one of the fundamental rights that those people from 1916 fought and died for, was the right for you and me in 2020 to infect our neighbour, our friend, our local shopkeeper with COVID-19? I don't think so. I don't think it is a reasonable inference to draw or assumption to make that somehow it was envisaged by the men and women who fought to establish this state in the Easter Rising would have done so in order to assert some right to infect your neighbours and friends with a bloody pandemic in 2020. I think it's an absolutely absurd proposition, and I personally resent greatly these knuckle draggers carrying around tricolours. They can have any view that they like. They're perfectly entitled to protest. They can have a different view to me. They can have a different feeling to me. But they can't have different facts. They can't make up their own facts. And the facts are obvious from around the world. The spread of the pandemic, the deaths caused by the pandemic, and so on. And this notion that somehow it is a conspiracy by the World Health Organization or by the state or by some aliens or Martians to control us and control our society is such an absurd contention, such an absurd conspiracy theory, that the only response I could make to such a person would be to ask them to recite every conspiracy theory they can think of and give them 30 seconds starting now, because it is just such a nonsensical, absurd idea that it really doesn't bear comment about. But what does bear comment about, in my view, is the use of the tricolour, and I really resent that. Anyway, it's just an idea, just a thought.